Now we're going to talk about 12 capital A apostles. All right. This is a pet peeve of mine. In Revelations chapter 21, verse 14, it says there are 12 foundations, and on the 12 foundations are written the name of the lambs, the apostles of the Lamb, the 12 names. So I've always wondered, what are the 12 names? And obviously, it is not rocket science. You got Peter, John, Thomas, Andrew, Philip, Matthew, James, Bartholomew, James the son of Alphaeus, Lebbaeus, Simon the Canaanite. And of course, Judas Iscariot is not a believer. Okay, he was never a believer. You read John chapter 6, verses 64, 70, and 71. He was never a believer. He never became a Christian. And he's out. Now, he was replaced by Matthias, but he's a church apostle. He is not an apostle with a capital A. You can see that in Acts chapter 1, verses 15 through 26, where he's voted in. All right? Now, the difference between Matthias and all of the other apostles is that they were called by Jesus personally. Matthias was not called by Jesus. He was voted in. So, he took Judas's place, but he is a church apostle. If you take a look at the Geneva Bible and you open up and take a look at the inside cover, you'll see his name there with the 12, and it's a mistake. It's an error. So the Geneva Bible isn't exactly perfect either. All right, so enough of that. Let's move on. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 14, they are called the apostles of the Lamb. That means that they were called and sent by Jesus. So who's the 12th apostle? Paul of Tarsus. Because if you go into Acts chapter 9, you'll find out that Jesus personally calls Saul of Tarsus, formerly Saul of Tarsus, to become an apostle. All right. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is that Jesus is the apostle of apostles because he's sent by God the Father, and you can read that in Hebrews chapter 3, verse 1. You should get a Bible and read it for yourself. I'm not going to read it for you. So let's talk about church apostles. Let's go into some more detail. Barnabas is an apostle, but he's a church apostle. And you can see that in Acts chapter 14, verse 14. Okay? Then you have Andronicus and Junia in Romans chapter 6, verse 7. And by the way, Junia is a woman. Think about that one. Silas, a.k.a. Silvanus. I'm not sure if it's the same person or two different people. I can't answer that because I don't know. But in Timothy, both in 1 Timothy 1, chapter 1, verse 1, they are also apostles. And then, of course, there's Apollos in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 6 and 9. He is also an apostle. But these are church apostles. These are not apostles of the Lamb. In order to be an apostle of the Lamb, you have to be called personally by Jesus. That's why there's only 12 apostles with a capital A. It's always bothered me. I know it's nothing serious. It's not an important doctrine or anything. It's just one of those things. I just can't stand it when people talk and make mistakes and say things that are false. All right. Now, let's talk about the 13th apostle, the rich young ruler. You find him in Matthew chapter 19, verses 16 to 22, Mark chapter 10, verses 17 to 22, Luke chapter 18, verses 18 through 30. Okay. I'm not going to go through the details. You can read it for yourself. But what Jesus says to him is, sell everything you got, get rid of all of your money, give it to the poor, and come follow me. So Jesus offered him an apostleship. He would have been the 13th apostle. He said, how do you know that? Well, if you read Matthew chapter 19, verse 27, Peter said, we have forsaken all to follow you. So when you are a capital A apostle, Jesus tells you to forsake everything and follow him. And he's only called 12, but this was also possible 13th. Unfortunately, the rich young ruler had a lot of money and he couldn't part with it, so he did not become an apostle with a capital A. Anyway, that's interesting to know. It's nice to know, but I just thank all of you for listening and being with me on this TikTok journey, and I will also be posting all of this on YouTube.